I proudly present Kalyan S. Rathod sir. What do you name? Give the name to the art. What would you say?
I would say let it be beautiful without a name.
Thank you. Because I was trying to Google it.
Yeah.
Figure it.
So, your question of what kind of art? I would say it is, you can call it art that is based on some geometric pattern.
I don't understand that, sir.
Neither do I. Started sketching, visualizing, dreaming of what I really want in that car. So that was an initial stage of visualization and creativity to me. Somewhere I was probably not satisfied and I wanted to do something more in design. And I had a good background in design and geometry and arts. So it was then that I started combining these ideas to create sculptures.
Hello audience, welcome to 99 TV podcast. I remember 2.5 months ago, we was just scrolling the Instagram. Oka sculpture, oka video, millions of views that actually attracted our team, especially our managing director, who showed us the video. And asali yela ee sculpture possible? Hanumanji sculpture adi. So we just clicked into that account. Kalyan S. Rathod sculpture. Adi account. అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఈ ఇన్స్టాగ్రామ్ అనాలిసిస్ ఇవన్నీ చూసుకుంటుంటే ఒక మోర్ దాన్ 50K, క్లోజ్ టు 80K అండ్ అబవ్ ఆన్ స్క్రీన్ పర్సనాలిటీస్ కాకుండా ఒక ఆర్ట్కి ఉండడం అనేది ఇట్స్ అ వెరీ హ్యూజ్ నంబర్. బికాస్ ఆ రీచ్, లాయల్ ఫాలోవర్స్ అనేది అంత ఈజీ కాదు. సో అసలు ఎవరీ పర్సన్ అసలు ఇలా ఎలా చేస్తారు? ఈయన పూరి జగన్నాథ్ గారు ఐడల్ చేసేస్తున్నారు, గణేష్ జీ ఐడల్ చేసేస్తున్నారు, అండ్ హనుమాన్ జీ ఐడల్ చేసేస్తున్నారు, అండ్ పీపుల్ ఆర్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ హిమ్. నాట్ జస్ట్ అన్ ఆర్టిస్ట్, హీ ఈస్ అన్ ఆర్ట్ హిమ్సెల్ఫ్. హౌ ఇస్ దట్ ఈవెన్ పాసిబుల్? మనకి ఆర్ట్ అంటే ఒక పెన్సిల్తో వేసే ఆర్టో, పెయింటో, థాంజోర్ పెయింటింగ్సో ఇంతవరకే తెలుసు మనకి. అది కూడా థ్యాంక్స్ టు ది సోషల్ మీడియా ఎక్స్పాన్షన్ ఈ 10-15 years నుంచి వీ నో ఇన్ని ఉన్నాయి అని. బట్ దెన్ దిస్ ఇస్ సంథింగ్ రియల్ డిఫరెంట్, అండ్ ఎవ్రీ స్కల్ప్చర్ దట్ హీ మేక్స్, I at least feel, we felt as a team, has a lot of soul in it. So we got connected to him. He said he is in Bangalore. He's from Bangalore. సో హైదరాబాద్ ఒక సడన్ విజిట్ వచ్చారు, ఆయన పట్టుకున్నాం మనం. సో ఒక ఆడియన్స్ పర్స్పెక్టివ్ నుంచి ఒక ఆర్ట్ని ఇష్టపడి ఆర్టిస్ట్ని గౌరవించే ప్రతి ఒక్కరికి ఈ టాక్ డెడికేటెడ్. ఐ ప్రౌడ్లీ ప్రెజెంట్ Kalyan S. Rathod sir today. Thank you so much for taking time out and visiting us, sir.
Namaskaram, Sunayana garu.
Oh, namaskaram, sir.
With that, I have exhausted my Telugu words. But I assure you, soon I will come back to you with a lot of more
Thank you, sir.
of your beautiful language, which I have started learning.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction.
No, it came within heart, sir.
Yeah.
I didn't prepare anything because I really don't know what the art is. I'm trying to figure it out. And I'm a little ashamed to having said that, because this makes me say how confined are we to only certain types of arts, to the on-screen glamour. We just tend to forget every technician. Me being in with cinema for so many years, we are just so very fascinated with on-screen presence. What is going off-screen, the hard work every technician puts in, we really tend to ignore, and this is really very bad. I should have to admit that. I should admit that.
On the contrary, I would like to say that in every art, including in what you do, be it cinema or creative theatre, you may not be consciously aware of it every moment, but your creative output is a drop of gold that you squeeze out from all your life experiences, your circumstances, and the eventual output is a tiny bit. So that tiny bit is what we all seek. And how can we be artists? The way you work in your art or the way I work in my art is what is visible to the outside world is but the tip of the iceberg. Behind that, the main driving cause, the foundation is your life experience. From your earliest memories to the trauma, to the good things you have gone through in life. It's a sum total of all that. So generally, if people ask me, for how long have you been doing art? That's a very tough question to ask. I believe I started my art as a child when I started seeing the fascinating form of an insect.
Insect?
Yes.
Okay.
So a lot of stories like that where the curiosity to observe everything that comes by. So that's a very childlike curiosity.
Yes.
As artists, I think the simplest definition is to not grow up in that department. Today, can you be fascinated by something very silly to others and very simple, everyday thing? You wake up and you see something interesting. You probably see a leaf, or you see a certain pattern in which the clouds have formed.
Yes.
If you just look at it from a very shallow perspective, you will say it is beautiful. But why are these things beautiful? A flower is beautiful. We all use flowers to decorate, to pray, it's the epitome of beauty. But has nature made the flower to be beautiful to the human eye? No. The flower is following its function. So what is that function? And that design has evolved over millions of years. How has that design become beautiful to us is because it is following a certain function. So as an artist in my field, what I want to do and what I have sought to do is to find a definition or an explanation in a technical way.
Okay.
To say why should a flower look beautiful to us. That to my mind is the way of seeking your own narrative in whatever you love to do.
So, I would want to understand from the audience perspective, or let me put in this way, even I didn't know what name to give to the art that you have been doing for so many years.
Okay.
So if I ask, how do you, what do you give the name to the art, what would you say?
I would say let it be beautiful without a name.
Thank you. Because I was trying to Google it, figure it out.
See, people may call it contemporary art. What is contemporary? Now it can be, again, it's a very wide bracket. When you say contemporary art, anything that is being done in the current era or in this last 50 years or the coming 50 odd years is a loose definition of contemporary art versus traditional art. Hundreds of years back, the artists, what was available to them was, let us say, stone and wood. So they chiseled at stone and they carved wood to create what they had in mind. So they show their devotion, they show their respect by creating a sculpture, or they just make a statement by creating what they love to do.
Yes.
So one thing that I would think of is, I cannot sculpt using stone or wood, but should that stop me from creating what I love to do, or should that stop me from a certain devotion? It should not. If my material is stainless steel or my material is even paper sometimes, how can I process that material to bring out the form or the shapes that I have in mind? So your question of what kind of art this is, I would say it is, you can call it art that is based on some geometric pattern.
Yes, it's difficult again.
Yes.
Because not many would love or understand math, at least for what I have observed all these years. Yes, many will not admit it anyway.
Okay.
But I don't understand math, sir.
Neither do I.
Really?
I am not
But you make sculptures that
using
math is
mathematics.
involved, science is involved.
The math that we learnt in school is for the books.
Okay.
It's not for
Marks.
For marks, yes.
Yes.
But when school mathematics stops, the real mathematics starts. This is what I tell my students also. In school, the mathematics we learn has just one right answer. Everything else is wrong. So that's why mathematics is scary.
Yeah. Oh
Right?
my God. Yes. I remember horrifying school days of mine now. Yes.
But if I gave you an apple and I asked you to cut it in 5 different ways, you will enjoy that.
I do.
What are you doing? You are creating planes. You have taken a spherical surface and you have cut it into planes. What does that become? That becomes a polyhedron. I wish they had taught this in school in that fashion. Otherwise, they will make you memorize a polygon is this, a polyhedron is that. But math is an art of observation also. As a child, I remember that when you go to the tender coconut vendor, that tender coconut is round. And then he starts chopping at it.
Yes.
Every time a part of the coconut is chopped, an interesting shape originates. Then the next cut will give you another interesting shape. When he, suppose for example, if he were to cut the whole coconut all around, so you're not seeing the light green of the skin of the coconut, now you have a polyhedron. So the minute I communicate this in this fashion, every child will start understanding what is a polyhedron. So the same coconut now has multiple surfaces, right? So each surface is a plane. I can draw that shape on a piece of paper. If I cut all those shapes in a piece of paper and I join them, I am replicating the shape of that random coconut. I would say the art I do, that is the fundamental visualization exercise that I can tell you. So even a child will understand. Now going to the next level, if I did not cut the coconut in a random way, but I started having definite turning angles while I was cutting, then I get a regular polyhedron. So there is some regularity. So like this, there are ways of assimilating the geometry and the mathematics of form.
How about
Right.
science, sir? How it is involved then?
Science is involved in another way. Let
Okay.
me tell you. You have seen the way in which a tree will grow, right? If we start trying to draw a tree without knowing that there is a scientific basis to it, it will never look like a real tree. But if I tell you there is a ratio and proportion to at which the tree grows, it grows to a certain length, it bifurcates into 2, and it grows 0.8 times or 1.6 times what it has already grown. So one short length and then another length and then 2 more from there. The minute you know that there is a pattern based rule to the tree growing, then when you draw the same tree, it will start looking like a real tree. So where is science involved? Take soap bubbles.
Okay.
We have all played with soap bubbles.
Yes.
Yes. And when you blow a soap bubble in air, it becomes a certain shape.
Yes.
It doesn't become a cube.
Yeah.
It becomes a sphere. Why does that happen? That is because of surface tension. So when 2 soap bubbles come together, they form a perfect straight line in between, like a wall. The wall that happens between the 2 soap bubbles is a perfect straight wall. Who's determining that? Soap bubble has no life. You can say a tree grows because tree is also alive.
Yes.
An animal grows into a beautiful form because it is driven
Life
by
in it.
DNA
Yes,
or
yes.
life. But a soap bubble is not alive. So there, surface tension, air pressure, and these things start dictating how forms develop. the same will happen at an atomic level also. So science, geometry, I won't say mathematics, I'll say science, geometry and form have a indisputable connection.
Okay, I will try to get a bit deeper when it comes at this point of time, sir.
Yeah.
So now, even today, there are a lot of changes in the education system that have come in.
Yes.
Different form of educations. You name it, they have ICSE, CBSE, state syllabus, Waldorf syllabus, whatnot. But then eventually all the form of educations, at least for what I have observed, all the form of education come to one aspect, probably after 6th class maybe, 6th or 7th. Again it is the same form of education that is coming into picture. I don't see any form of practical learning involved in it, or else, or any form of interesting aspects involved in these. Somewhere the other, it's just the regular form that is coming into picture, whereby the generations are having the same type of circle. So as a sculptor who have sculptured many artists, what do you feel, or what is your take on this kind of education system today? Do you feel it is good? No, it has to be changed, it can be altered, our history books can be altered, our math can be altered, or our geometric aspects can be altered, or how it is?
The syllabus and the topics that we are covering in school are essential.
Okay.
No doubt. And that will always be useful for us throughout the life. If not everything, it is not the data that we have collected in school. It is the way in which we have processed the learning. So, if you have learned how to learn these subjects, that is a universal and a lifetime lesson for the child. So, my focus would rather be on softening the impact of some otherwise tough subjects to children. So when I go to 8th graders and I tell them trigonometry or these things, then it's a scary name.
Yes.
But I feel the intervention should happen in how the teachers can make the subject more relatable. If they're talking about trigonometry, or let us say height of something has to be measured, take them outdoor and give them a practical example. Take a stick, take a string, and make them understand how trigonometry is helping you in certain measurements, and then come back to the classroom and draw what they saw. You will see how much involvement was there.
True.
Instead of opening the book, go to this chapter, read out one paragraph as an introduction to the subject, and then start off on the formula. In that part, I think the system puts too much focus on what a computer can already do, and too little focus on what the human mind has to learn. So we cannot change the system, but what little we can do, I am doing from my part, is to go to schools and go to students and tell them, why do you need a different teacher for mathematics and art? Let me show you how these two subjects are connected. So that alone will, break the ice, and they start thinking, wow, we thought some mentor is going to come and talk to us about our mathematics again. And no, this is not the mathematics that you have learnt in school. I am going to show you mathematics in a dice, the board game dice.
Yes.
And I will tell them, how many other dice can you make? How many shapes can you make? So
have you seen students involving, sir, once you actually create this kind of atmosphere?
Yes.
Good.
When you create this atmosphere, the students will kind of engage themselves.
Good.
And it has to become play.
Yeah.
So most of this learning and what I do with these children happens almost on the playground.
Good. Yes.
And they start making paper models of what we have learned, and there is hardly any stress given to memorize this, or I'm going to ask you in the next session what you learned. No, enjoy this for now. Life will take you to a situation where you will recall these experiences and these learnings. That's how the best seeds are put. You can't put a seed in the pot and then in 2 days remove it and see what has happened. You have to give that seed its time
Yes.
and nourishment. So many ideas I can relate from my own childhood.
Yes, I was about to ask that. Yeah, please continue.
Some small nugget of information that was given to you and on that particular day had no significance. 5 years later, you will recall that and you would have made a connection and say, wow, that one nugget of information that my dad told me or my...
What was that, sir?
He had given me one example of the beehive structure.
Okay.
So, the interesting patterns in beehives. If you just look at it from outside, it looks like those hexagonal shapes which we all see in every advertisement has. If you Google beehive, you will get hexagons. But what beyond that? Beyond that is like how a bee creates those things. It is not an engineer. It has not learned from its parents. It is an instinctive behavior. And when you start seeing the depth of that beehive, there are so many like cellular structures coming together. And then if you cut that, you will start seeing these patterns. Those patterns represent a learning that is beyond what we know as learning. The bee has not gone to school to do that, or it comes from its own nature of being a bee.
Yes.
So the fascination that he was trying to show me was there is something much deeper, and there is something that is governing everything in the universe beyond our understanding. So once I remember seeing that as a child, and then I used to start seeking what is the nature of this design. If there is a fruit, or if there is, I would, we lived in a suburban quarters where we had a lot of trees and dragonflies would fly in. Rarely I would find a dead insect. So if I find a dead insect, I'll take it inside and try to see it in a magnifying glass. And then it starts being so fascinating, all those 6 legs coming together at one point, how beautifully these legs are designed, or the dragonfly's wing. For a long time I used to be fascinated by that, without knowing there is a very scientific basis to it. Here is a very interesting workshop activity I do for children or even grown-ups, architects and designers. There is this shape which I won't tell you the name.
No, this is difficult for me to guess. Okay, I'll try,
No.
please.
No. I mean, I will not ask you to guess. But
thank you.
what I like to do is, I don't want to throw terminology at the student.
Okay.
I want the student to understand that there is a concept like this, and then the terminology has to come in. So I start relating how if you are in a desert and there is one place there where water is available, you have to walk in a certain direction in a straight line. If there is suddenly another spot with water, you have 2 options. You will now have to choose which of these water spots are closer to you. Like that, if the whole desert has multiple spots of watering holes,
Okay.
and there are many people populating this area, how do you make a map to say that which is the nearest water spot or watering hole for you to visit? That is called a Voronoi pattern. So I have explained it in a little abstract way. There is a fun activity that I do with these participants where they start engaging themselves, and they on the ground itself automatically they create a pattern. This is called the Voronoi pattern.
Okay, Voronoi pattern. Okay.
And where else do you see it? This is so common in nature. The giraffe, the skin of the giraffe has a certain pattern.
Yes.
The dragonfly wing has a certain pattern. So why is this shape so ubiquitously occurring in nature. There is a scientific basis to it. So now these ideas are used extensively in engineering, in technology of many sorts, and also art and sculpture. So
Should appreciate your father, sir, because he is the one who actually sculpted the sculpture, isn't it?
yes, he
Is
used
that
to.
a big statement?
He was a aeronautical designer.
Wonderful.
So I would always be asking him questions on design.
Good.
And here's a very interesting story. Back in the day, this when I was growing up in late 70s and 80s, the economy and all that was not as good as now. So although my father was a well-placed engineer, the times were tough for everyone. And as a child, I had seen a pedal car, which used to be called a baby car. So I would see one of my neighbors had that. So on seeing that, I was like, goodness, this is a dream for me. If only I can get a car like that. So I asked my dad. He said, yes, I will try and get you. So I know it was hard going for everyone, and he probably waited for a few months to accumulate the money, and then he said he'll buy one. He went to the shop and he came back empty-handed. I was very disappointed. He told me that he didn't like the quality.
Okay.
The metal was not proper. It had sharp edges which can poke the child's leg. And so as a result, he being an aeronautical engineer would not approve of a design which has those dangers and risks. So he didn't buy it.
Okay.
So for me as a child, I was like, it's okay, even if it was dangerous, I would have enjoyed it.
Yes.
But then he probably thought he should design something for me and make one someday.
Sweet.
So then he started telling me, don't worry, I'll make one for you. I'll make the best for you. Let us make it together. And he started encouraging me to sketch out what he is talking about. He said the wheels will be like this, the body should be in this shape, we should make sure the seating arrangement for you is like this. So essentially he started making me sketch out what he was visualizing, and I started visualizing the same thing. Now I don't know if he did this as an exercise to enhance my imagination. Probably that was one reason. And he was also trying to buy time to, finally make one for me. So this small exercise I remember from my childhood where, I started sketching, visualizing, dreaming of what I really want in that car. So that was an initial stage of visualization and creativity to me.
Good, sir. It's a great experience that you have shared, whereby parenting is not just,
Yes.
it's way more.
Yes,
I
yes.
would not mention the
I
just
would
things,
say
but
in
it's-
today's generation, most parents do understand the value of learning beyond school.
Yes.
But for someone of my father's generation and for me growing up in that era, for my parents to understand and encourage that, I think was the biggest boon.
Yes, that was out of
Yeah.
the box. I think that kind of thought process made you choose this profession. How does this happen, sir? It's not a regular engineer or a doctor or a fashion designer or an interior designer, neither an aeronautical engineer.
Or not even art. I
No, it
have not gone to art school.
Okay.
So I come from a science background, graduation in science. Physics was my favorite subject. And subsequently, design also was an interesting subject to me. So if I look back, I can say, one can say I was unsettled and undecided. I wanted to be a doctor in school. I wanted to be a physicist later and stuff like that. Eventually, when I came out of college, I was very keen on industrial designing and professions involving design and manufacturing. I got into that. I learnt my own thing. I did a whole lot of designing of furniture, of equipments and machines for gymnasium. All that I did. But somewhere I was probably not satisfied, and I wanted to do something more in design. But how much more can you do? You go to a client, the client will tell you, I want this design to be like this is the brief, can you do it? So you will replicate what is there in the client's
Yes,
mind.
and your thought process is confined to certain level.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is good.
Yes,
Which
yes.
is honorable in itself. But somehow I started feeling confined. And it's around that time, maybe 18, 19 years ago, I used to see the beauty of geometry in my sleep.
Okay.
So I would be sleeping and I would literally wake up trying to recall, oh my God, what was that shape? What was that vision I had? Like, the kaleidoscope is a simple example, but I would look at it like a universe of a geometric pattern in 3 dimension. And if you try to sketch that out, you will never do justice to what you really imagined. So that was a nice suffering to have, to struggle and struggle and struggle and try to recreate what shapes and what forms you were seeing in your dream. I feel that is when I started researching more on biomimicry and shapes in 3D. And I had a good background in design and geometry
Yes.
and arts. So it was then that I started combining these ideas to create sculptures. At that very moment, I got one break where the client wanted a kind of tree-like sculpture. And then I said, of course I can do it. What is the principle by which a tree becomes a tree? Why can I simply not weld some kind of steel and call it a tree? That character and the nature of a tree is missing. If I were to simply create a tree without knowing some rules, what are these rules? Then I stumbled upon the word biomimicry. As a process or as a designer, we are mimicking what biology is already doing. So we are biomimicking. And then I realized it is not a word I coined. It was already there. It's just that in our regular course of learning, we never stumble upon these words. But the minute you stumble upon a word or a concept, you grab onto it and you do more and more research, 10 more words will come your way. Grab onto those concepts and research. So all my learning as an artist has been research, stumble upon new concepts, research more, and then somehow cosmically or in a very lucky way, it starts connecting to all your childhood experiences and knowledge that you have built up.
Good when you say this, sir. But I would also wanted to ask, many people would want to take up their choice of or any form of art, or would want to go out of the box, not the regular stuff they do. They want to be take an inspiration from you and be like that. But now here family is involved. People will question. If I'm not wrong, you were married by then, right?
Yes.
You're already a father also.
Yes.
18 years back, you're saying.
Yes.
Now this finances will come in picture.
Correct.
Why did you quit your regular stuff? How do we run the home? What you are doing with the steel and all? What is this sculpture? Why Hanuman is not Hanuman but Hanuman more than a soul? So all this might have come in picture. Friends will also might have discouraged you or encouraged you or what it is.
Yes.
You just take up your own regular job and do this as a hobby. Maybe that kind of discussion might also have come into picture. How did you unlearn everything and just listen to your heart, art,
Yes.
and sculpted your thoughts?
I had a couple of things working for me. I am the youngest of a lot of siblings. So I had,
Lot of siblings.
yes,
How many, sir?
we are 9. I am the youngest. I have.
Okay. I have got certain lines to say, but it's okay. I would just limit to myself, yes.
I would
Yes.
say for me to make this transition, my brothers and sisters' support was definitely key. And so that way, financially, yes, you cannot depend on even your siblings. It is only right on your part to be on your own. But then you have a family net in some sense. So for that, I am grateful. And that is something that gave me the guts to go ahead in one sense. And in another sense, I have always been Like, if I feel I can do something, I will persevere and I will do it. It's a challenge for me. So financially, I still had my design background to go back to,
Yes.
and the transition happened quite rapidly, but I knew I am not burning any bridges where I cannot go back. In 5 days I could go back to my old work, or now and then I would still be visiting my old work just to keep things running. So
Great.
these were the lucky aspects of my transition. But what I would say is, yes, I know what you're saying. Art in itself is like saying, what is your future plan? Okay, I'll buy a lottery ticket. It is as whimsical as that. Not every artist can be assured of success.
Yes.
For every successful artist, there would be hundreds of others equally talented artists who wouldn't have made it. Just like maybe in acting field or cricket.
Yes, of course.
The
of course.
top of the top are the ones who are drawing that population to that aspiration.
Yes, sir.
But not everyone with the same talent will also succeed.
True.
So I'm filled with gratitude that things come together in certain ways.
Yeah, so true, sir. Now you see your son is also following or being with you
Yes.
the path.
Yeah.
It's like
It is.
being a hero, a parent being a hero or heroine to their
Yeah.
children it's a very big as a parent I understand how it feels when my son looks up to me and says I want to be an actor.
Okay.
Regardless what the future will be, I still feel proud that a child is looking upon to you.
Yes.
I would like you to share that emotions as well.
Yeah. When I was in the process of this transition, the first support I got was from my wife.
Good.
She
Good that you said on the podcast. Now you can happily go home and say, I've mentioned your name, a special mention.
Absolutely. I mean, we started all this together, and when I started this, she was a little skeptical, but then she was very supportive. I remember from our own dining table, we used to sit and make paper models.
Even she is from a...
Yes, no, she's not from an art background. She's an electronics engineer.
That's great to understand.
Yes.
Yes.
So the fundamentals are definitely there. And from there, both of us discovered our own journey into this art. And I would say that's why when you ask what is the name of this art, maybe I'm ignorant, but I don't know. People call it geometric art, but those are very shallow terms to be given. It has so many layers and so many facets that what would you call an instrumental music? What is the meaning of a soundtrack that has no lyrics? It is still beautiful to you. So what can you name this art? I'm sure people have a lot of names. It's called faceted geometry or geometric art, a lot of such names. But I don't confine myself to those shallow definitions.
Yes.
An analogy or a parallel idea I can tell you is if you heard instrumental music, Carnatic music or mridanga or something, what is the meaning of that sound? Or there are no words in that.
Yes. We
Yet-
probably might call it as a sound wave or form
Yes.
of it. Yeah.
Correct. So the same way as an instrument being played can be beautiful, an art can be beautiful without a name.
True.
That is one way of looking at it.
Yes.
But the other way of saying that is more than being a piece of art which is just aesthetic. The aesthetic comes from the process of how you've made it. Like I told you, the flower is not beautiful to please our eyes. The beauty is a result of some order. So I follow the order, and the beauty should become a byproduct of the order.
True, sir. But yes, I mean, I was personally speechless, I would say, when I have seen the work that you have done in the form of a reel, Hanumanji, the tail, that is something anybody could have imagined beyond imagination. The Puri Jagannath Ji ka idol, and many that you have done, and you are still doing it, which requires a lot of patience, concentration. Concentrating on same thing for hours together, maybe that requires a lot of peace in the head, and it is a chain. How did you acquire all these? Do you get distracted?
Yes, of course. I think
Do you?
you get distracted, but the question is how quickly you're back on track. You get distracted, you get frustrated. How do you handle those situations? I think over a period of time you will understand that this kind of frustration needs a long walk. This kind of frustration needs to, you need to meet your friends and get distracted. And sometimes it is like, okay, no, close the room and focus on this. No matter what, you have to come out with a solution. So I guess you have all these options on the table, and with experience you will know what kind of block can be solved with what kind of solution.
Your art has taken you a very long way, sir. Really, I'm very proud to have to announce this, a Guinness World Record, a TEDx speaker. World record is something really big. Many will aim at it, but achieving it, many can't do or reach. So, how was that experience? If I ask you to sum it up, how would you?
If I go back to the time when this prospect came to me, it came to me from Accenture. So Accenture had an annual event where they had asked the employees to submit their portrait photos. So more than 1 lakh of employees had submitted portrait pictures, some interesting, some fun, creative portrait pictures. That was for a particular event. And after the event, the company actually had these photographs with them. And they said, what can we do with this? The next year, they said, is there some way we can use this resource to get a Guinness World Record? Photos and Guinness World Record. Most of the creative answers they got from the agencies and vendors were, okay, let's create a huge collage of photographs. We'll put it on the building.
Yes.
We'll make 100 feet tall banner. But this also came to me. So I said, being a sculptor, I said, let's make a sculpture using the photographs. So it's a long story. I'll tell you in brief. They said, wow, sounds good. We can make a sculpture using photographs, and what can we do with that? Then Accenture said, let's apply for a Guinness World Record. They reached out to Guinness. Guinness said, a sculpture using photographs. We have never heard of something like that. So let's start a new discipline and call it World's Tallest Photograph Sculpture. Then we formed a loop. They said, okay, here's the artist, here's the agency, and Guinness. Guinness said, okay, we will write the rules now. Because this is the first time. You have to use only photographs. You cannot use any steel, any member inside. The sculpture has to stand on its own. Okay. Then the sculpture should have a definite shape. What if you take 1 lakh photographs and put it in a pile and say, this is my sculpture? You're the first person who's doing it. So even if you make a 4 feet tall pile, technically you have made a sculpture. So we should stop anyone from doing that. So let's say the shape has to have good definition. Okay. So they're writing these rules. The shape has to have a definition. Then the artist has to present a build process. Okay. So my questions were, can I fold the photograph? Yes. Can I interlock it and use some glue to fix the photographs? They said yes. All this happening over mail.
Yes, yes.
So I said, done. I will do it. So I came back in a week's time, inspired by a matchbox. So when you see a matchbox, although it is thin cardboard, the minute it is made into a matchbox, it becomes quite strong. So then I said, what is stronger than a matchbox? Is a triangle. Matchbox is like a rectangular shape.
Yes.
The same thing, if I make into a triangle, it becomes extremely strong. I will show you the clippings.
Please,
as we
please.
read.
Yes.
So these triangles, 6 of these triangles will make a hexagon. There you go, hexagon and the beehive structure. The minute hexagons come together, they become extremely strong, not easy to break. Let me ask you one question, very simple. You have eaten a chocolate bar.
Okay.
What is the shape of the chocolate
Square.
square?
Generally.
Generally, yes, you're right. Most of it is square. But if I gave you a chocolate bar whose shape was hexagons, it will be much tougher to break away one piece, right?
True.
Exactly the way nature designs strong structures, efficiency structures come in here. So my inspiration was a matchbox size triangle. So the photo, I created a nice unique way of folding them up into a triangle, and it had a tubing around. And 6 of these photographs come together, you will form a hexagon. All 6 photographs of the employees. Like that, around 37,000 photographs made into hexagons and assembled into a pyramid. That won the Guinness World Record, and it stands at 16 feet tall.
Wonderful, sir. Kudos to your team and people, everybody's support, and you running the show, and to the students you have made so far. You are shaping sculptures, I would say, rather than students. How it is teaching this art, even difficult. It doesn't have a proper book or a structure or,
Yes.
or records or notes that they can just go back and refer to. Am I right?
Yes, you're right.
Okay.
But I'm almost grateful that these topics are not touched, because when I talk to students about this, students meaning participants, even architects, sometimes senior architects, they start realizing that they didn't see things the way it has been communicated now. So that eye opener for a child or for a professional is the key. The minute you start seeing it in a certain way, you cannot see it in any other way.
Sir, with the little knowledge I have, before 1984, people can correct me if I am wrong, there was not a subject named architecture. There was not a subject. I have been told this by my father. He explained it because he was an architect. Even before the subject was introduced in the curriculum. He was an art director for movies. Then he was an architect. Then he shaped up Asia's first revolving restaurant in Hyderabad.
Oh.
Then architecture came into picture as a subject. B-Arch, M-Arch. So when I'm speaking to you, I could definitely recall, before you, there was no subject or method as such
Yes.
of the sculpture, but with you evolved such a kind of an art that cannot be limited to any particular name, which is way beyond that, I would say. And it's been wonderful discussing this subject, this form of an art with you. And for an artist, sir, on screen or off screen or forms like this, what would you suggest? I mean, how do they keep up their mental strength, their ongoing life, or to even have to believe in the art where world will not believe after a certain point of time, or it's not regular? What is your suggestion to the artists?
Well, artists are a varied lot. So, how can I put this? I can speak for myself that I can draw inspiration from challenges, I can draw inspiration from failure, I can draw inspiration from success. So the bottom line is to be consistent. They say famously that inspiration comes and goes, but consistency is what will take you to the next level. I feel as artists, while inspiration is important, when everything is down, if you can get up and still do your craft, if that dedication is there, then you're a successful artist already.
So, can I add, for an artist, no matter how much you are into the art or master of your art, you need to have that discipline also
Exactly.
to show
Yes.
up every day towards your art
Exactly.
and be committed to what you have actually believed in.
Correct. And it should come easy because you would rather be working on your craft than being at a party. I can tell for myself that I would rather be working in a cafe, sketching in a cafe,
Yes,
than being in a party with all my friends.
wonderful.
Not that I avoid
No,
socializing.
you find your heart in your
Yes.
art.
Correct.
Wow, that becomes a rhyme, sir.
Yeah.
Heart in your art.
Yes.
Nice. Wonderful, sir. Thank you for introducing this wonderful ocean of art to us, and much more coming on your way, even in Hyderabad. Having said that, please explain how is Hyderabad traffic? You come from Bangalore,
Yeah.
so you find it difficult over here, or it's more or less the same?
Hyderabad traffic, you have to pay a lot of attention because you're going faster. In Bangalore traffic, the advantage is I get a lot of creative time in all the signals. So I like both.
Good one, sir. So yes, I would want to see your sculptures. We would want to see your sculptures, not just in metropolitan cities, but everywhere possible. Sculptures, more sculptures evolving in this form of art in future. And thank you so much, sir. Thanks for your time.
It's been my pleasure, and thank you so much to yourself and TV99 for giving me this opportunity.
It's our honor, sir. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.